What's going on, everyone? My name is Sherwin and we are in the Nissan Leaf Studios. This is the loaner that Rivian has set me up with because the R1T is at the service center. So if you haven't checked out that video, go check that out. But we will be having fun in this car for probably at least a day, and I'm going to be sharing the experience with you. All right, so here it is, the SV Plus Nissan Leaf. It comes with this key fob, and according to this, it's a 2023. So there is a button here that looks like we can unlock. Yes, we can. And let's check out the sticker. So it looks like this was built May 2023. It has a little over 8,000 miles. And one thing right off the bat that I want to share with you guys is, being that it's an enterprise rent-a-car, it's a lot better than the Tesla loaners that I've gotten recently, where it was just really filthy and dirty. But as you can see, it is fairly clean here. This is the inside, and I love the solid roof. I never realized how much I miss it because it's a lot cooler on the inside. I'm gonna really look into a roof shade for the Tesla and the Rivian. The seats are cloth and they're pretty comfy. Now this does have an on and off button that doesn't make sense to me for electric vehicle. The seats have lumbar support also, at least for the driver's side. We are on the passenger front side. Manual controls on the seats. No lumbar support control. This is the glove box size. Not bad. And it's manual, not like you have to go into the screen and look for the button to open it. And also check the shifter out. This is the shifter knob. And there is your diagram there. So you slide to the left, then you go up for reverse or down for drive. You have an E pedal and eco mode. So the eco mode is kind of labeled interestingly because it is an electric vehicle, shouldn't already be economical. But basically when you have that enabled, it's kind of like chill mode with a Tesla. So I thought that was labeled pretty weird, but okay. This still does have the stalks, and the interface so far, I mean, it's I've figured it out, but it's great that it has Apple Play or CarPlay. All right, so these are buttons. I don't know what that steering wheel button does. That looks like charging, and this is the charge port. We're gonna go check that out. And that was the one I was looking for, the trip reset button. Well, I'm not used to that anymore. It is a manual button. The charge port location is in the front. What we have is chademo, I believe, right here, and this is the J1772 charging port. I should be able to charge this at home with the Tesla adapter that I recently got, and it shouldn't be any issues. Looks like it has a front camera down here as well. Nice. All right, next thing is popping the This is the hood. It's not a frunk because you don't have any storage space here in the front. Everything looks accessible. We have the 12-volt battery here. That's probably the motor. Not sure if the battery is underneath, but yeah, there's a latch. This took me about 5 seconds to try to remember how to open hoods, but yeah, it can't support itself on its own, so you need this stand. It doesn't have the hydro arms. What is it called? Forgot what it's called, but yeah, you have to have the stand to keep it open. So yeah, I remember these. This is the view from the back seat, second row. Oh, that's interesting. Hold on, I gotta show you this. Okay, so Teslas and Rivians don't have this middle part, and I don't know why they have it. There's USB-A ports here. This is interesting. Why did they have this? Huh. Interesting. Okay. Does this go down? This does not go down, but it looks like it's a 5-seater. You could sit 3 people back here. I can't get off this. I don't know why it has it. Interesting. I think it's a waste of space, but let me see if I could look it up online to see why they have this. EVs normally don't have this. All right, so the tailgate is not powered, it's manual. Pretty large trunk area. This is the charging. Maybe I could plug in at work while I'm here, but interesting. Okay, we're gonna try it out and check to see if this will work on probably 110. Hopefully. Is there extra room down here? No, not extra room. So there's no sub trunk, but it's fairly deep. Yeah. What do we have here? Little hooks. Do these fold down, I wonder? Let's see. Yes, they do fold down. All right. But it's not a flat rear. Not bad. All right, so the wheels and tires, we got a Michelin green at 215, 50, 17 in size. All right, so we are home, and I think we've driven about 80 miles. We are left with 25% state of charge, which is equivalent to about 57 miles, it says, and my average is 4.3 miles per kilowatt hour, and I will put the watt hour per mile equivalent to that. I'm gonna charge a little bit. I have my adapter, and it's actually time of use between 4 to 9, so it's expensive, but I think I have some energy banked in, so, but I don't know how that works. But anyway, we're gonna have to do some errands, and I want to bring this car with me. So with 57 miles, I don't know where we're going, and I'd rather just have it charged using the level 2 charger instead of the 110, the level 3 charger, or not level 3 but level 1 charging speed. So, but yeah, so far this car has been really good. It reminds me of my previous Prius, but it's an all-electric car, so I'm having fun with this car, surprisingly. Okay, well, it turns out I don't have my adapter. I left it in the R1T. Man, so I'm charging at the 110 speed. and I don't know, like you can't see anything. You have to turn on the car, or at least not turn on, but the auxiliary where you hit the button, the power button in an EV, you gotta hit it twice without pressing the brake. Just to see any information, but even then all it does has like a blinking green plug, and it just says that the car is plugged in. There is no like indicator that says, oh, right now you're doing like 1.3 kilowatt hour and you've put in this much. But I think it went up 2 miles in the last 10-15 minutes. It added 2 miles, I think. I'm not sure. But it still is the same percentage. But yeah, these are one of those things that other EVs need to catch up on, is just the indicator of like charging indicator and stuff. I don't know why it's so difficult, but like Tesla and Rivian and them have more information. Now, maybe it's because I don't have the app installed. If there is an app, I'm not sure. But I don't want to move into this car because this is just a temporary car. But yeah, so we're just gonna keep it plugged in at 110 watts and see how much we could like charge. All right, so we are here at an EVgo charging station because I don't have my adapter at home. And this thing is so weird. I have to charge using the chademo connector. So EVgo kept giving me errors on the app, but it looks like it's charging. So I got here at around 9:04 p.m. at, I think, 16% state of charge with 36 miles left. And now I'm at 24% at 55 miles. So I guess it's charging. It was charging at a rate of, I think, 72 kilowatts. And now it's dropped down a little bit to 69 kilowatts. The speed isn't too bad. But yeah, I'm not going to charge all the way up here. I'm just going to charge it to maybe a little bit over 100 miles. Because I don't know what we have to do tomorrow. But I have to turn on the car just to see this display. The EVgo charging station, the screen doesn't show any stats. I wish it did. But it says remaining time 1.5 hours. But I think that's if I were to do 100%, and I believe 100% is 220 or 240 miles of range, or I believe 75% is 33 miles, which is, what was that, like earlier it was 170 miles, or 50% in 15 minutes. So we may just do that, the 50% in 15 minutes. This is a 100 kilowatt max speed at EVgo. I didn't use the 350 ones because obviously the Nissan Leaf does not do 350. I wanted to just save that for cars that are capable. So it has gotten busy. There is one car waiting now, whereas when I pulled in here, there was, I think, 2 or 3 available charging spots, but this isn't like a big spot. This, I think, total is like six or 8. Probably 6, 3, 5, 7, probably 6. And it's after 9, so my rate here is, I think, like 35 cents or something like that. So it's not too bad in price. But this is the available charger. It's now dropped to 67%, and now it has dropped to 67 kilowatt in speed. Yeah, we're just gonna stay here to do about 50%, which will be another 14 minutes. So I wanted to also add a few things that I've noticed when driving. You're gonna probably ask me, how many times did I turn on the wiper trying to shift the car in gear? I would say 80% of the time I would flip the wiper, because in Tesla and Rivian, this is the one to change the gear. So yes, I've done it a lot because here in the Nissan Leaf, it's actually this knob down here. The other thing that is pretty cool, I mean, it's not cool, but it's like the feature is in old cars, but the turn signal stocks, it actually, when you flip it like this way, it stays down. It stays down. It doesn't go back up to this position like Tesla's and Rivian does. And so it doesn't have auto cancel, and I'm reminded to flip the stock back to the center position to disable the turn signal if I'm not making a full right or a full left turn and just changing lanes. So that's something that I guess it's helpful because I'm so accustomed to the auto cancel turn signal. But it's the end of the day. I'm already missing the truck, and I do like this car. So hopefully tomorrow we are going to get the car back, or the truck. So hopefully tomorrow we're gonna get the truck back. Okay, so overall, what I like about the Nissan Leaf, the first thing is Apple CarPlay. It sounds a little weird, but I think Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are great for vehicles where the stock interface is trash. And I'm talking about like the legacy automakers. Like, their main focus is the vehicle itself, and like entertainment and interface and all that, I think is just secondary. They just want to make sure that that car can start, move, and stop, and which is fine. I don't think they're great at designing interfaces or anything, and that's where Google and Apple come in, and I think it improves the user experience. Now, when it comes to Tesla and Rivian, those are the two that I have experience in. I don't think it's necessary. Yeah, it is a bit different. You can miss Apple CarPlay if you're already accustomed to using it, but you just have to give it a chance. Not everyone's gonna like it, but I think they really did a good job at designing their interface, both Tesla and Rivian. Now, switching between Rivian and Tesla, I think Tesla does a better job at building out the interface, because there's times I get confused with the Rivian interface, and sometimes the menus, like the options, are buried deep into like 2 or 3 clicks or 2 or 3 levels. But I think it's just a matter of time until I get used to it. And the great thing about it, though, is Tesla and Rivian can update it. It's a software update that can improve the interface, and Tesla and Rivian have had updates to improve their user interface. Now, legacy automakers, I don't know if they've implemented that part of technology as far as updating their car's interface for usability. I don't know if they want to put more time on it as well. And at the same time, the screen in the Nissan Leaf is pretty small. I think my iPad screen is is larger. In fact, I think it is larger. I believe it is larger. So with little screens on these cars, like how can you build a good user experience? The refresh rate on that screen also isn't all that great. And just a little side note, the Rivian screen compared to Tesla screen, the refresh rate is a bit slower as well. There is some lagginess. But with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto for cars like the Nissan Leaf, where the interface is just trash, it's a huge improvement. And I was like, I got on there, and because I'm already accustomed to Apple CarPlay and just the menus and stuff. So that's what I like. It's great that cars that actually do need it have that capability, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So that's the first like. Next, no glass roof. I don't know if you could see, but I have a roof shade here. And man, ever since I put it on, I didn't realize how much I miss just having a solid roof. The glass roof is great in the beginning, but living in Southern California where the summer, actually not even just the summer, I mean year round, our weather, it gets pretty hot. So, and you know, my head sometimes feels hot because I have short hair and yeah. But anyway, yeah, driving the Nissan Leaf around made me realize I need to get a roof shade. And so far, this roof shade has been pretty good. So check out that video once it becomes available. The cloth interior is a bit nice. Although I haven't had cloth interior, wow, for a very long time. Was my Prius leather? I don't even remember. But I know since getting into EVs, they've all been vegan leather, and it's fine. But I haven't had a car with cloth interior for quite some time, and it actually feels nice. I don't know, it's like comfy. But yeah, the trunk space. The trunk space is fairly big for its size, and it has the hatch design on there, so I like hatch design. The bird's eye view camera for parking. I cannot tell you enough how great that is. My Rivian has it. The Nissan Leaf has it. You know what doesn't have it? Tesla. Tesla doesn't have it. Tesla, come on, Tesla. Man, if the Nissan Leaf has this, why can't y'all? I don't know. No matter how good your cameras are, Tesla, you know, no matter how good your AI or FSD or whatever, I don't know. I really like the bird's eye view, the 360 view and all that. Because even with all that technology in my Tesla, I curbed my wheels on the Model Y. On my current Model Y, I curbed it twice already. And you can make fun of me and tell me I'm a bad driver or whatever. Yeah, whatever, okay? And then Abby's previous Model Y, I curbed that too once. You know, funny enough, she hasn't even curbed any of the cars. Maybe you're right, I am just a bad driver, but the bird's eye view, the 360 camera is just really, even on the Nissan Leaf, it's great. So, man, it's really great. If you haven't tried it, you're gonna love it once you check it out. But yeah, the next one, I don't know if this is an advantage, but the Nissan Leaf has both chademo and J1772 charging ports. In EVgo, the charging stations that I go to, they have CCS and chademo. They don't have J1772. So if I didn't have that chademo port, then I wouldn't be able to charge at EVgo. And I don't know how I would have charged it because my adapter was left with the Rivian while it was in the service center. I was able to charge at home in the Nissan Leaf, but at the 110 speed, which was very slow, even at the small 60-something kilowatt battery size. It's pretty slow. So maybe it's an advantage, but just having more than one option, I guess, is good. The next one is the rear cross traffic sensors. If you've only had a Tesla, Tesla doesn't have that. Maybe they don't need it. I've mentioned this in the previous videos. But my Toyota Prius had it. I think my Sienna had it. This Nissan Leaf has it. Many cars have it. And if you're wondering what this rear cross traffic sensor is if you're backing out of a parking spot, there are sensors in the back that detect traffic that are crossing behind you, and maybe you can't see it. Now, in Tesla's defense, you have cameras that have a wide angle view. And so you can look, and then for the most part, many Tesla owners park backing in anyway, so it's not that necessary. But I thought, I think that just having it, for the cost of the car, it should really be standard. But maybe I'm just nitpicking. But every time I see it in cars, like I like it. Rivian has it. So. But none of the Teslas have it. You just have your cameras, and yeah. Now, for the dislikes, the price for the Nissan Leaf brand new, man, I'll get to that. But I think it's, Tesla just ruins it. In a good way, Tesla ruins cars that cost between $30 to $50,000. Tesla ruins it, and I'll get more into that later. But the price of the Nissan Leaf brand new is not good. The next dislike is the 100 kilowatt max charging speed. That is what I've gotten when I was charging at DC fast charging. Actually, I didn't even get 100 kilowatts, but when I looked it up, it's 100 kilowatts max. I think my maximum charging with the chademo port was about 72 maybe, something like that, but it never reached 100 kilowatt. It's probably not that necessary, and it's maybe because I'm just used to my Rivian and Tesla that can do faster max charging capability, but that's because they have bigger batteries. This Rivian has, I think, 122 or 130 kilowatt size battery. The Model X has a 100 kilowatt battery, and the Model Y is somewhere around 82 or 77 to 82 kilowatts in size. The Nissan Leaf is sitting at 60 kilowatts. Not that big, but not that small either. But yeah, it's just 100 kilowatt. Maybe that's for price to save on cost, but again, we'll get to that. But yeah, there is some electric noise at about 30 miles per hour that I've noticed. My Rivian has electric noise from time to time, so I don't know if it's a dislike, but I wanted to share that with you on this video. Now, here's the big issue. I charged once at EVgo using the chademo, and actually I charged twice, and the last time I did it had a huge issue. I could not disconnect. Like, the interface on the EVgo machine like glitched. It was still continuing to charge, and I was ready to unplug because I was getting high in percentage, and I couldn't disconnect. I couldn't manually disconnect. I couldn't tell the car to disconnect. I couldn't get on the EVgo interface to disconnect. Like, it was just stuck. I spent a few minutes, and as I was trying to figure it out, the state of charge keeps going and going. What if it was 100%? Is it gonna charge me idle fees as I try to figure it out? Anyway, I gave up, and I finally, there's a number on the EVgo charging machine, and I finally called, and thankfully they answered fairly quick. And I told them, I verified my account, and they asked me what the machine was. They found the machine, and they remotely disconnected the car. And so I was talking to them, just trying to get an idea of like, oh, does this happen often or whatever? And the tone I got from the representative was, it's your fault. You should have called this sooner. We're not going to reimburse you for any charges that you didn't want to do. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever. But man, come on, dude. Like, it's my fault because I didn't call you sooner? How about this shouldn't happen to begin with? How about that? So I don't know if I panicked a little bit, but it was just more of an inconvenience. Like, this would never have happened in a Tesla supercharging network. And this has never happened with Rivian with CCS, with EVgo. So I don't know if it's because chademo is just an older technology, but yeah, I don't know. But I wanted to share that with you all because that is one of the experiences. It was just weird. It was just weird. It's like I'm driving an EV and it's like all teched out and everything, and yet this is the issue I face. Like, I feel like I'm back into a gas car or something. I don't know. If you can find a Nissan Leaf, a used Nissan Leaf, maybe around $20,000, man, I think that's a really good deal. Like one of the newer ones, maybe 2022 or newer, I would say. And you could find it around 20,000. I think that's a great deal. I think this is a great local commuter car. If you are commuting, you know, 80 to, I'm going to say 150 miles. I think this is a great car if you could find it for a good price, used. Because new, don't. And again, I'll get into that later. But I say up to about 150. I think the SV Plus has a range of just over 200, but again, you gotta subtract about 10%. So I'd say a good 190-mile range for the SV Plus at the 60 or 62 kilowatt battery size. I think that would be the range that you're gonna get. So that's why I said about 80 to 150-mile commute. I think this is a great car if you could find it at a good price. Now, talking about comparing the Nissan Leaf with the Model 3 standard range, the new one, even the previous gen. But check this out. So starting price of a Nissan Leaf with a 40 kilowatt hour battery up to about 149 miles range is $29,000 already. It does have 96 months or 8-year, 100,000 mile battery warranty. Now, the SV Plus that I got brand new is around $36,000. A Model 3 standard range is about $39,000, and you may qualify for a federal tax credit. So just look into that. So you're gonna probably think, oh, it's only $3,000 more. Like, I'd rather save the $3,000 and get a Nissan Leaf. And no, pay, in my opinion, if you're just looking at new and not used, pay the extra money, get a Model 3, and I'm gonna tell you why. So the Model 3 standard range has a similar battery size, but it could do 272 miles. On paper, the Nissan Leaf with the 62 kilowatt battery size, I think is like 215. So the Model 3 is gonna be a little bit more efficient, it's gonna be more efficient. The Model 3 standard range will have the lithium iron phosphate battery that can be charged to 100% versus Nissan using nickel cobalt manganese. So the benefit of LFP batteries is it's safer. Not to say that the other batteries are dangerous, but comparatively speaking, it's safer. It has a lower risk of thermal runaway, longer lifespan, can maintain performance for up to 5,000 life cycles. Now, what does that mean? It's kind of just like charging from 0 to 100%. It's really, I think it's hard to determine the definition of what is considered a life cycle, but 5,000 life cycles. So if you had 365 days a year, you have one life cycle a day, just do that calculation. You're like over 10 years. But again, what is a life cycle? Performs better at higher temperatures also. Now, the Model 3 standard range with LFP battery, many have experienced charging speeds of around 175. That's the top speed. But technically, it could go faster at 250 kilowatts. Many Teslas will do 250 kilowatts only if you are at a very low state of charge, and it will not sustain that speed for a very long time. So just keep that in mind. But you can charge faster than what I've experienced in the Nissan Leaf. Now, with the Model 3, you also gain access to the Tesla charging network. The advantage of the Tesla charging network is location, the number of chargers per location, the speed of charging, and the cost and rates is a little bit lower. The Model 3 also has a frunk, and the Model 3 has a powered trunk. So my general observation is, if you can find a used Nissan Leaf, preferably a newer Nissan Leaf, between $18,000 to $23,000, and with good low mileage, man, I think that's a really good deal compared to a used Model 3, because you're not going to find a used Model 3 for about that price with low miles. You're probably going to see upwards of 80,000 to 90,000 miles used Model 3, around $23,000 to $25,000. Not going to say that's a bad thing, but also consider that how far are you from that warranty being expired or used up. So just consider that. The reason for that is because a new battery for a Nissan Leaf, when I looked it up, is about $6,000 to $8,000. Model 3 battery replacement can cost roughly about $12,000 to $15,000, but it varies, and it depends on when you do it and the condition of those batteries. The next thing, you could consider picking the Leaf over the 3. It does have a hatchback design, which I prefer. I was able to fit my 51-pound poodle. We took my poodle Moochie to the vet using a Nissan Leaf, and she loved it. She loved that back compared to if I had my Model 3. I don't think she would like it, but she loved it. But yeah, as I mentioned earlier in this video, Tesla has made it difficult for competitors to sell EVs between the price of about $30,000 to $50,000. You have the Model 3 and the Model Y in these price ranges, and in my opinion, it's like the best bang for the buck. You get the most features, better options, a great charging network. You don't have to deal with dealerships. Like, man, it's just a lot of advantages. And I'm not going to say that the Model 3 and the Y are the like perfect vehicles, but if you're just going to look at just price and what you get, I think Model 3 and Model Y between $30,000 to $50,000 is the best bang for the buck, new and used. Would you drive a Nissan Leaf over a Model 3? I would say no. No, unless the price of that Nissan Leaf just can't be beat. It's just you get so much more of a car out of a Model 3. If you had a Nissan Leaf in front of you or a Model 3 in front of you at the same price, or maybe like the $3,000 difference or $5,000 or however much, like I would pick the Model 3, I would say, all the time. But what do you think? Let me know what you think. Would you choose a Nissan Leaf over the Model 3? Are there any other cars in that price range that, maybe you can share and consider? But yeah, so I would think Chevy Bolt, Nissan Leaf, and Model 3, all in those price ranges. And I hope that there's going to be more choices in the future, and I'm very excited for that. But that's it for this video. If you liked the video, please like. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.